usually during an administrative meeting, you know, and then the community one is usually in the evening.
So you have three, one would be for the community, one would be for the teachers, and one would be for the
Right,
administration?
right.
Okay.
Right, and we would talk with Sherry about if dismissal times are staggered, you know, different grade levels, then it might be a rolling focus group that starts at whatever time the high school gets out and then stays in session, so that everybody has a chance to come. And also at the community one in the evening, if teachers go to that one, they just say, you know, I'm a teacher, but I'd like to add this. And we just, when we take that data, we just take their information and put it with the teachers.
Okay, thanks. So what do you need from us with regard to the timeline?
Well,
Tonight?
what do you think? And do you want a timeline that has a July 1 decision?
Yes.
Yes.
And are you aware that it's going to be a big crunch for the school committee in June, and that we'll be talking about making some decisions around that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Sherry, what's our last day of school in Smithfield?
20th, I think now it's Monday.
20th?
Yeah.
Are you all okay with that?
I'm okay with that, I'm just wondering if, I'm just thinking about the site visits to their school. If they'll still be in session, then do we need them to be in session? I mean, it's a superintendent, it's not necessarily a principal.
And people learn a lot from the site visits, but also the candidate can make sure that there are people there. I mean, you can say to the candidate, we want to talk to X number of administrators, we want to talk to, and generally, you know, even if it's 3 days after school is out, they can bring people together. It's having the candidate able to see your district before the 20th would be, you know, before school lets out. And it's hard also to have somebody touring the district on the last day of school. So those are decisions you would make then.
So is there any wiggle room with any of this?
There's wiggle room with all of it, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just trying to think of that piece.
Like, could it be more aggressive?
It can be more aggressive. You just want to make sure that you have the time out there to get the candidates to apply.
And you got May 20th, you could move that May 20th to May 10th.
Right, well, that's what I'm thinking,
And
like,
that's
if we
what you
can
would
bump
do, you
that
have to pull
piece
it back.
a little
But
to
then
give
you've
us
got to get your
an
members
extra
quicker.
week and a half.
You've got to get the members in the next couple of weeks to decide it.
Yep.
I mean, if you put your ads out mid-April, you don't want to close it off in 3 weeks. So that's what you're up against.
I'm sorry.
And then you can assign people duties.
I'm sorry, we're thinking of entertaining a motion
Oh.
tonight with changes to approve the timeline as you've submitted it to us.
Oh, okay, because if you do move it up, again, that's what I'm saying, by the time your ads get out there, you're only allowing 2 or 3 weeks for,
Yeah, you can't do that.
If you want.
You can't just allow 2 or 3 weeks for them to get the applications back, right?
generally not if you want to do some strong recruiting.
Yes,
No, I
we
would
do.
think we would want it for a month.
Okay.
So,
So do you want to make a motion?
Sure.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the suggested timeline, understanding that, you know, the dates are estimated, but this is what we would agree with.
Right. And once you've approved, if you do that, if you approve the timeline, then we'll stick to it. We'll push ourselves to stick to it, and we'll be working with Sherry to, you know, to nudge the district to stick with it.
So you facilitate it and kind
We
of
do.
make sure we stay on track?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great.
yeah.
Doesn't someone want to second Jim's motion
Second.
for discussion?
here's my discussion. If you're starting to advertise April 11th, wouldn't May, if we bumped that to May 10th or May 15th, you know, that gives us just 5 more days as far as beginning the review of the applications. That still has everything out for a month. You think we need longer than a
When's the
month?
quickest we can start advertising? That's your issue, right? So when do you?
Well, April 11th, I think that's pretty good. We're gonna start doing
Well, you can
ads
do it
and
earlier.
informational
Why can't
letters.
you do it on the 6th?
We'll go home tomorrow and start writing the ads. It's just how fast you can approve them and get that information letter back to us with your,
Well, you actually have in the timeline published web ads starting April 6th,
right,
which is next week.
right.
But then posting it on the on websites that you get recruiting says April 11th. You know what I
We'll
mean?
do
So-
that right away. We'll do it as soon as we have
So
to
if
go.
there's time there and it can be out by
Yeah.
April 6th, then we do have a little bit of wiggle room. That we
Yeah.
can- You know what I mean, that it still will be out for 5 weeks. I think 5 weeks is,
But we don't need to make those decisions tonight, do we?
I thought we did.
Well,
Okay.
this is a guide.
It's a
I'm only
guide.
saying that this is a guide, if you wanna move it up 5 days or whatever you wanna do, again, this is a guide. I think that you as the liaison, you know, if you said move it up 20 days, maybe we need to vote on it, but if a few days,
Yeah.
we understand that.
But I
that's
thought-
not-
When do you
I
want to
thought
move it up?
do you need a vote tonight and a decision on the timeline tonight?
No,
I'd like to vote tonight. We're here, we're all here, this is why we're here, so
Yeah.
let's
Can
move
we
it along.
tweak? Yeah, but there's a motion on the floor.
Okay, I'll
Right, the
withdraw.
motion is for.
Yeah,
I'll withdraw our motion. Do you have some
Right.
changes that you?
Well, I mean, I'm just, if we can have everything out and posted by April 6th,
You want to move this May 20th to the 15th?
the May 20th is the one I'm thinking of.
And what would you like
And then
to do?
I don't know, I have to look at this handy dandy little calendar. Look,
Like a
they
little-
gave us one.
I know.
May 15th is a Sunday.
So May 13th is a, Friday the
Friday.
13th,
You gotta vote 13.
What's the date of our May meeting?
May 17th.
17th.
And so then we have to appoint the screening.
Well, we can.
Right,
we
but
can
that's
have
gonna bump
special
up a
meeting
week
to appoint the
too.
screening committee.
Well, we
So
don't have-
how-
do
what
we
if-
have to approve that? Or can we just give the,
I'll make the motion to approve the screening committee and as a, you know, by names. But we're not making
How are we
any
getting
appointments.
to
I'm
Yeah,
about
look-
the only appointments we're gonna be.
yeah, I don't need the name, we just need the people. Like he said, it's gonna be 2 parents, 2 of these.
Well,
I don't know, in the district I
Who
work in,
makes the
they always
decision about the
appoint
screening
it.
committee?
They always
Does
name
the
them.
school
if
committee
School
appoint
committee.
them? The
Yeah.
school committee appoints them.
I think we have to.
I think we create the committee, but we don't necessarily make the appointments.
Like,
So-
we don't have to have a
Well, I
vote.
think,
no, you don't have to have a vote. You say you want 8 people on it. At some point, Sherry would present to our liaison, these are the people that the teachers would like on
What-
it.
I would rather have a vote.
Yeah, but what happens, for instance, you have 5 parents apply,
Then-
and we've only got 2 appointments of
Okay,
it.
so then they say the PTO president shall appoint.
When we contact the PTO, don't we say we want 2, not 5?
Well, Leanne doesn't want, she just wants it parents, she doesn't agree with.
I don't think it should be limited just to
Just
PTO. I
PTO.
think it should be,
But
it doesn't.
I think we can reach out to the PTO and ask for parents. I think there's only one board member on the PTO, personally, Mary Froshaw. I don't know if they have even any other officers, to be
Well, I
honest.
would ask the
Appointing
administrators.
People like that, that's, it's.
no, I would ask the administrators for people, you know,
Yeah.
parents that you
Who's gonna be the
recommend.
judge?
Oh, if parents are interested, they could send their names to Sherry, who could pull it out of a
You
jar.
have to choose.
and we could do that at our April meeting, if we had the names of that. And we could pull it out of jar of parents, administrators, teachers.
So should we put something up on the website and say, like we do for school improvement team,
Yeah.
and say, if you're interested, please send your name by.
Your meeting's at 12.
And it will be pulled out of the hat, it's not going to be political or.
Right, yeah.
Your meeting's at 12.
April the 12th.
That's when
Do
they
you
will
think
vote.
that's time? That's 2 weeks.
I can get something up on the website tomorrow. I don't want to just.
Want to put in the meeting dates and what it would entail and things like that.
Would you type that just based upon that, just say,
How do you
yes?
gonna
Do I do that?
Once the names come.
Yeah, you do that, yeah.
Oh, you're not doing a voice on that? Okay. So you gotta put that.
They want to pick the names.
Okay.
You know what I mean, once the names are submitted, I say we sit
When do you
here
wanna
and
do that?
give me the names, April 12th, and we pick, no?
In executive session?
What would that be?
Doesn't matter to me.
You mean discuss individuals? Like
Yeah.
what the merits of having Mary Jones over?
I think that's kind of
Thank you.
hairy, that's almost closed session and notification. If you're gonna really be talking about.
I think
Well, I don't think you're talking about it, I think it's like when the town council appoints a charter commission, they get names and then they pick 7. And when
Yeah, then it could turn into
Either way,
budget and whatever.
Right.
the PBIC, you get names and like one.
Yeah.
All right, what if we go back to the yellow line in the middle, begin review of applications May 13th
Okay.
instead of May 20th? And then bump everything else by 5 days below that.
Yep.
And then that means we need to look above that as far as the screening committee, because the screening committee can't be selected after we start the paper. So So I'm saying May 6th. Right above it, the screening committee, selection of screening committee members completed by,
May 6th.
I would say May 6th.
You might have to call a special meeting to get people to vote on it.
We might. Or if we have it, you know, it has to be done by then. If we can do it by April 12th, then great. I just don't think we'll be able to. That's
Right, good stuff.
Well, again, if we create, if we're able to create committee, and we're not making the picks other than the two committee picks, then it should be established almost automatically. So,
So who's gonna be on the second, we can at least figure out what second school committee is.
I would like,
I think she's.
I could nominate Jim right now. I nominate Jim while I
Anybody want to
did
be on
the
the
screening.
screening committee? So me and Jim.
I'd like to be on
Are
it,
you
but there's
gonna
only,
nominate Jim?
we're
I'm gonna nominate Jim.
We're
I'll
nominating
second
Jim's gonna be on
Wait a
it.
second. You wanna be on it, Mike?
No, but you're limiting it to two, and Leanne has to be on it, so I don't care.
Okay.
But I just wanna make sure-
I'm good.
Whoever
Okay, so
goes,
I
go to all the
seconded it, you
meetings, that's
nominated
the
Jim, I
only thing.
seconded it. Any other discussion?
Do
All in
those
favor?
dates work for you?
Okay, so it's Leanne and Jim are the school committee members, yep.
Okay, do we wanna vote a chairman or a vice chairman?
No, I think this is.
Let them, you'll be the chairman or vice chairman. You guys
You
are.
guys work it out, one will be the chair, one will
Should
be
be
the
the
vice
chair,
chair.
and she'll the liaison.
Okay.
Looks like there's the chair and vice chair. Jim's the vice chair, Leanne's the chair.
so, all right, so can I, you want me to make a motion to, agree in principle to this suggested timeline?
With the amended
With-
dates.
right.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll make a motion to, adopt the suggested timeline with the following changes. So under the screening committee, it'll be May 6th.
Yep.
Next line, begin review of applications, May 13th. The remaining items shall be decreased, so it'll be moved up earlier 5 days.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that okay with you? That sounds doable and everything?
I would just say the process would be that we work together, write that, create the timeline and then send it to us and we will format it.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I just have a question. How did we leave it with you? Obviously, if we're appointing two teachers, the teachers will pick the two representatives. But what about the categories where there are multiple applicants, like parents? Is the committee going to appoint those, the selection of the candidates?
Well, I think
You will.
Dr. Burke gave us a suggestion on how to
What was the suggestion?
pick the people to be on the screening committee, didn't you? He
For
said
the
that it
parents.
shouldn't be the school committee that selects them, it should, you reach out to your administrators, you reach out to the other people, ask them to give us one name, two names, however many we're looking for those
Right.
spots, correct?
Right, exactly.
So the administrators will pick the parents?
No, the administrators would pick the administrator, the teachers would pick the teachers.
Well, we're talking about the parents.
Well, you can decide how you're gonna do the parents. If parents are interested and you don't wanna go through your PTOs, they could submit a letter to Sherry, who would fold it up, put it in half, pull out two names. Or she could divide them into elementary and high school, or, K to 8 and 9 to 12, two different, and put one from each, however you wanna do it.
Gosh, I don't know. I think our administrators would have a pretty good feel on who would be good candidates from their
Well, no, I
buildings for
think it should be a
parents.
combination of somebody from the teachers and somebody from the administration, say.
To select the parents.
That's a slippery
Yeah.
slope.
No, that is, okay.
Is it?
To let administrators pick? Parents? So what do you suggest? We get all.
I suggest that you be as fair and unbiased as you can in putting people on the committee. It's a screening committee. You'll interview the candidates yourself, however you wish, but if parents are interested in being on it, you don't want them to say, well, that principal's never gonna pick me, or that administrator's
That's
never.
true, that's true.
You wanna know what's funny?
So
Jim
so
and
what if
Leanne
we
both
just put
parents,
it
too.
online, however many names come in, they come in and we just pick one? Or
Yeah,
I
that's
just
think
what
we randomly pick it.
I could take the school improvement team blurb that we put on the website to solicit members for the school improvement teams and tweak that to request parent names. They'll have to do it pretty quickly because I think
Right.
they'll have to be in by,
I would say have them in, our meeting is April 12th, right?
yeah,
So what's the Friday before that? 8th?
yeah.
That's next week.
That's next one.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
not.
They have to make
That's not
quite a
long enough
commitment of time to,
Yeah, and I'll
Process.
adjust
Again,
this
we're not
timeline.
making, once they're picked by.
we just have to have it by May 6th,
Right.
right?
They're automatically on.
You're on that, yeah, we're not.
So.
And then we're gonna be on vacation.
I make a motion.
So how about after vacation then?
I wanna ask Amy a question.
After April vacation? I don't know.
Talk about that first.
No, I was gonna make I'm prepared to make a motion to establish the screening committee officially. And then that will,
You mean as, and then name the two teachers, two
Exactly.
school committee, okay, so.
and then we can discuss how that's
we're
going.
gonna do that. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and do
Go
that?
ahead.
So, well, I'm gonna ask Sherry for help here, because I don't know what the final decision is, but I would like to make a motion establishing, the superintendent search committee as follows. Sherry? Screening committee, sorry. And
Okay.
Sherry, can you help me with this?
Two school committee members, which we've already chosen, one central office person, two teachers, one town council / public official, two parents, one administrator, total of 9. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, let's say, I'm in, so I made that motion, okay?
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay,
All in
so,
favor?
let's
Can we
say,
vote on that?
yes,
Can we do that now and then continue discussion?
sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay.
So, let's say that the elected official just to try to make this as simple as possible. So the elected official will be appointed by the council, period. So they'll make an appointment, whether themselves, another elected official, or whoever they want to appoint.
Do you want me to reach out to Debbie Todd for that?
Yeah.
Yes, assuming everybody agrees.
I would agree with that.
So the teacher, we mentioned, so the parents, we mentioned, it'll be an application, they'll submit it to the website, somebody will randomly pick two names. So,
That's okay with that.
if that's okay.
Do you want me to know from the parents what level their children are in or child?
See, I think there should be at least 2 levels represented.
I do too. I think
Yeah,
it would
one-
be great
So I
if-
would
if
specify
it'd be great
that
if
in
the
their
parents
letter of
who have
app.
children in Wallowwood School.
Right.
That would have to be.
Sure.
That
I
would be
mean,
a
I
good
don't know what you think,
criteria.
I just, the more that we can cover all the grade levels, I think the better.
I'll-
I don't know if that's.
and are you gonna go through the president of the Teachers Association?
I was
for-
just gonna ask Amy if she could get involved in the selection of 2 teachers.
That's generally how, and either they appoint
So
them.
so could we count on you to choose the 2 teachers who would be part of the, okay, yeah, all right, great, everybody's okay with that?
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
That was perfect.
That was easy.
Superintendent will pick the central office person.
Do we want to pick Sherry?
Yeah, I would pick Sherry.
Well, you know, I hear what Leanne's saying because I think it's also very important for Claire. So, and I trust Claire with my life, so I would step back for sure. Not that I deserve any spot, but I would definitely step back and say, you know.
It is not,
Claire.
and
I didn't realize she was a central office person.
Yeah, she's our curriculum and professional development director, and that's a big.
I just think that's a big
position.
piece for the superintendent, not that your piece isn't.
Well, it doesn't mean that she
I
has to
think
be on the
Claire will
search,
get
she'll
it.
be an interviewer later.
Right.
But you can
Well,
have
you'll be in the
interview
focus group.
superintendents later.
I'll see a lot of it anyhow.
What do you want to do about a central office person?
Because superintendent's going to go tell us.
I think it should be architect.
Okay.
So it sounds like it's either Sherry or Claire. I don't want to offend you.
Oh, you're not offending me at all. Claire's fine.
You should have a strong curriculum person
Yeah, I think
representing.
Claire's better, she really.
It's gonna be Claire.
Do you want to invite Claire?
If she wants to do it though.
Okay, I'd like to.
You could have Sherry as a representative of support staff if you wanted to modify your numbers. But I also would include Sherry as somebody who would receive a personal phone call from you.
Sherry's applying for the position.
Oh,
So, I don't want to do 10 people though.
okay.
No, I don't.
No,
I
No,
go to
I'm
7
cool. I
before.
really
No,
think
no,
Claire's
no.
perfect.
Because you're already involved in.
But if
like,
Claire
applications,
applies, then
right?
you have to pick somebody else.
Oh, right, if Claire applies for the position of
I
superintendent.
don't think she has,
There's only 2 people that have, the certification.
to invite Claire, and
Yeah.
then if Claire doesn't want to do it,
She doesn't have to, she might not be able to commit to the
I was
timeline
gonna say,
anyway.
she's gonna be able to commit to the timeline.
Did you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to, ask Claire Arnold
is there a
to
second?
serve on the Convene screening committee.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, I make a motion, just gonna ask.
Sherry, could you ask her if she would like to?
I'd be happy to.
What do you want me, you want me to?
Or do you
call her?
want one of us?
Yeah, you.
Pardon me? Would you
You
prefer it
want-
be
you
one of
want
us?
I would suggest,
Okay,
thank
fine, thank you, thank you.
That's,
I think it's all involved, so.
I would suggest that the Sherry or the liaison with that.
I don't want to step on toes, you decide.
No, it's good.
I'm happy either way.
I'll get that.
Sure.
You can do it.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
so that brings us to
Delegate,
administrators.
Mrs. Chairman.
It brings us to administrator, the
Yeah.
administrator.
Yeah, I would just ask them to decide at their next meeting who's going to represent them.
The administrator.
When they have their next administrative meeting, make sure they have a discussion
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Probably this Thursday.
I would
Tuesday,
make the
Thursday,
recommendation.
Okay, and Jim made the suggestion that the council choose
Yeah,
the
I'll get
administrator
that
from
to
the
Debbie
town.
Todd. Yep.
What does that leave us? We've covered everything then.
We could,
No, who's doing the town piece? Town
Council.
council?
you gotta call.
I'm gonna send Debbie Todd an email and ask her to,
The next time they meet, they choose someone from the town
yeah.
Town
the
official to be
council do
part of
that,
the-
Right.
committee.
Or one of themselves.
It could be one of themselves or somebody
Or
else.
they might pick someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get that out to her.
Did we cover everything?
Okay, good.
Okay, all right, done. All right, what's next?
So there's just a few other decisions. We recommend that you make sure that you go over your superintendent's contract, use this time to go over your superintendent's contract, to make sure that you have everything in it and check it with your council.
Yep.
So update that and your superintendent's job description,
You're talking about the existing superintendent's contract or the contract we were?
whatever
presenting?
contract you wish to offer, whatever you want in your contract that you,
Okay,
for your new superintendent.
okay.
Subject to negotiations, of course, but you should have a good idea about your contract before you're faced with negotiating the contract. Also, a job description, and both of those things NESDEC can help you with. We can send you samples if you wish. You just ask me. And you know that you're also going to have to set aside some meeting times yourself in June to interview your finalists. So those decisions about interview dates, you should make some times and set your calendar aside too.
Is that something that you attend as well, or is it?
No,
something-
we don't
Okay.
attend them, but we would certainly help you we'll schedule them, we'll set up the candidates, and we'll talk to you about different formats that are effective for that. But it's good to get them on the calendar.
What is the effective time? I'm sorry.
How many days do you suggest that we set aside for interviews? 'Cause
It just depends on how many candidates you have. Say you have 4 finalists, you might want to interview 2 a night, and that's about maximum.
Okay.
Or you might, that you would then need 2 nights. You might have 3 candidates, and you might decide to do one every, have 3 different nights. That's your decision.
Okay. Sherry, I'm wondering if we should poll now for June dates for available if we need them.
Yep.
Can I
Maybe
ask
4
how
dates.
many finalists is the screening committee going to be giving to the school?
That's set by the school committee. You can say we want no less than or no more
I
than.
need at least
I
5.
think no more than 5.
I need at least 5. I wanna see all the, I just wanna see all the resumes.
I need
We'll
at least
see all
five.
the resumes we have.
Yeah, no, I just wanna see.
But as far as finalists, I said
5.
You may, if they, and
one.
then
But
you'll be on the screening committee, so you'll know if the screening committee says, these 4, and we just don't have 5.
What's your experience? Like, what's your
Generally it's between 3 and 4.
that you
that-
screen? And what's your experience with, as soon as you advertise, the number of resumes that you receive?
It depends on the time of the year and it depends on the district. So, the pool isn't as deep as it used to be 15, 20 years ago. You're going to get between, you might get 20 applications.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you'd like to narrow that?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
We have 5. Yeah, 5.
So no more than 5.
What else?
More than 5.
The salary. Do you need the salary.
We want, but right now, to put in the advertisement, we would like some decision about salary, or we'll put in the phrase, salary will be in line, with the regionally competitive salary.
And determined based on experience, right? So if the guy's less experienced, it makes less money.
It's,
You know,
we generally in an information, in your advertisements, you put salary,
you had a good term in your letter.
yeah, that's a standard.
I like that.
In the letters, it's a standard, but you yourselves need to come to have some discussion about salary. It doesn't have to be tonight, but at some point in time, you need to be very clear, because when, and if you are, we need to be able to tell a candidate when they ask us, if they decide to apply. We don't come out with a number, but we'll say to a candidate, somebody might say, well, I'm looking for this. Do you think I am a good shot for North Smithfield? And we'll either say, no, not based on that, or yes, you're in the ballpark.
You need the high end rate, basically, right? So guys come in and say, I want $200,000 overall space, and they come in for $100,000.
Exactly. Generally, what we do is we take the current superintendent salary as our own range that we're thinking of when we're talking to candidates, and they use that too sometimes.
Do you give us feedback as to whether or not our salary offering is realistic?
Well, what we do is when the screening committee has its 4 or 5 finalists, then we step in as NESDEC, and I and Sally will call each candidate and we'll talk to them. It's called an agreement in principle. What are you looking for in a contract? What do you expect in a contract? We don't say, yes, the district, we don't negotiate contracts, but we ask, what are you looking for? We give that information to the school committee so that you have an idea whether you could actually land that candidate, and whether, and then we'll say to the candidate, based on this, you need to withdraw, or based on this, you can move forward. That's called an agreement in principle, so that you're not interviewing candidates and then finding out afterwards that you can't sign them. And we'll check that again too. When you've done your interviews, if you say, now we have 2 people, we've done our interviews and we have 2 people, and we're going to do a site visit, and we're going to make a decision between the 2, or we're going to do another, however you're going to do it, we will say to the 2 of them then, be clear to us what exactly are your expectations, so that again, know that you can sign them if you offer them the position.
And while all this is going on, you're going to conduct the focus groups in the month of April?
Yes.
According to the timeline?
Yes, I'll start the focus groups as soon as, again, you need to get the word out, and so that people, tell the teachers and get it scheduled, and tell the administrators and get it scheduled, and get it in the, the local newspaper, and tell the community, put it on your website, and then hold the focus group. And we'll need to put up the link, and we'll get going.
Okay.
Now, do we need to determine tonight, you have a list quite here that's quite lengthy of the different categories of people who participate in the focus groups, but by contract, we only have 3 focus groups.
Right.
So can you suggest to us how these would be grouped into groups of 3?
Well, she said administrators was 1, teachers was another,
That's-
and the public is the 3rd.
But that's not covering all the categories that are on this list.
But that, you can add focus groups, but there's a fee for that. It's like, I don't know what it is, it's like 300. It's in your proposal, I have to look,
Oh, right here.
Well,
to add focus groups.
A lot of the people can fit in, the groups that are separate from administrators.
And they may in fact decide to fill out the online survey too.
Is it possible for community and parents to have 2 different times, like 2 different nights, to be able to reach?
There would be a
the-
fee for an
For
additional
any
focus
additional,
group. Yeah.
okay, so even if it's under the same heading, it's, basically we have 3 meeting times.
It's just us traveling down to North Smithfield.
Okay,
Yep.
so looking at this list of possible participants in focus groups, could we group them and say, for instance, we would like you to do the focus group that includes the city or town executive first selectman, town or city council or city government people, finance committee people, and the police and fire personnel as one focus group.
Right.
Why would you want to do that?
Because you don't want, you pay for every focus group over 3. I don't have a focus group for every category on this list.
I don't either, but why couldn't all the groups that you mentioned just come to the focus group that's not either
I just said that is one focus group that I just mentioned.
Well, it's everybody but teachers and administrators.
Well, then you have to, but she's got other people on there, so I think you'd have to do the second focus group, faculty, teacher association leadership, support staff, and students, or do you think that's not appropriate?
I don't think students should be with teachers.
Well,
Because
I would say the teachers' focus groups are staff,
Yeah.
and
because
that's
They
it.
might want to say things they don't want kids to hear. I don't think. Well, that's just me. I don't know. You're
Okay, so
You're a
we're
teacher.
We're not setting up the focus groups. We
The,
shouldn't.
again, you can have, I can make, Sally and I can call specific people, but if you have a community focus group, sometimes the community leaders just come to that one. And, but I also would be willing to call, we will call up to maybe a dozen people, talk with them personally.
So,
I think the needs assessment is one of the biggest components of a superintendent search. If we don't have enough time for those focus groups and enough people to come to those groups, we don't know what the community wants. We know what we want. What I want might not be reflective of the entire community.
Right.
And to me, that's the
Well, how many
purpose of
focus
those
groups do
groups.
you think we need?
3. But I think you
Well,
need to
we
get.
have 3.
No, Mary, I think you have to group the constituencies that are on this list into 3 groups. Otherwise, you're gonna have chaos.
Well, the teachers are their own group,
Well, I don't
and the
think that.
administrators are their own group. So
But that's what
No,
so
but you're
so should the
you're excluding
administrators be
8
administrators for
groups.
the entire town, not just the school?
Well, you can send those, you have a list of categories on there, and that's more to give Sherry a heads up that when you're planning the community focus group, make sure that you send the notice over to the fire department, or send it to the town council, or send it to, so that they know that that's when the group, and say to them, and if you're unable to make it, please, we invite you to go online and answer the questions. It's the same questions. Answer them online. So it's more, make sure that you get the word to those groups that are listed, if you can.
To answer them online.
To answer them online or attend the community one.
So like a personal invitation
Yeah,
to those folks and say, we're holding the community group this night, send one to Chief Reynolds, Chief Joseph, town council, say personally invited.
But I think, isn't that what you're trying to do, to determine who they are that
For
would be?
which night? Because you said you don't want to group faculty with students, so.
Well, you can't just have them come in together and fill out their own survey.
no, it's a discussion.
It's a discussion.
Oh, it's a
It's
discussion.
an open discussion.
I thought teachers were going to be their own group.
Right, so faculty, teacher association, leadership, support staff, that would all be under staff.
They're not going to be, we're finding that attendance is moderate at best in focus groups.
Oh,
A lot of people would prefer to go online.
okay.
And we would recommend to you that, that also the questions, I mean, the form is online that you can say to people, you can even drop it off at the focus group. If you've got your ideas and you've written it out and it's after school, you can write down and hand it to Carolyn or to Sally. We'll take it from that way too, if they don't want to go online.
Let's make a motion to focus. Okay.
We have
We're gonna have
three
three.
groups.
3 groups.
I mean, they're already labeled, it's just a matter of making sure that we reach out to
Okay.
them to make sure they're all having the invited to something,
Okay.
right?
What's next?
Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What's next?
That's it. I think,
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
worked hard.
Thank you very much.
If you have any other questions, I will make sure that Sherry has my contact information. You can, I'll give you my cell phone number and you can text me and whatever you wish. Okay, thank you.
The only thing I'd like to address is, for the screening committee members themselves, I don't believe in a pop-in, pop-out member. So how do we prevent that? I mean, if they're going to commit to being a member of the screening committee, then I would expect that they're going to be at all meetings of the screening committee and not come to the, the third meeting, but after missing the first and second.
I think that needs to be in your invitation letter. When you send an invitation letter out,
We gotta
you
figure that
know,
out.
I mean, tonight you made some decisions about who you were in a contact, the president, but I think that there needs to be a very specific letter written that says that, this is the role of a screening committee member. And some school committees actually have someone from the town clerk or somebody come to the first meeting to swear in the members of the screening committee as a subcommittee of the school committee. It's not necessary, but it reinforces the need for confidentiality.
Thank you very much.
And may I introduce Dr. Dias? What? I should get out. She fought the Boston Crab.
How are you? Angela, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Yes.
Usually go into
We gotta get back to Madam Chairwoman. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session under Rhode Island General Laws 46.5A2 regards to collective bargaining, NSTA.
Is there a second? Is
Second.
there any discussion? Could we do a roll call vote to go to executive session?
Sure.
Okay, we'll wait.
Well, we're all gonna go.
Mr. Lombardi,
Yes.
Ms. Nato,
Yes.
Ms. Gillette,
Yes.
Mr. Clifford.
Yes.
Mr. Raymond, yes.